December 10th, 2025, day after my birthday. Shout out to all my fellow Sagittarius out there, man. Today's conversation, I feel like it's always a provocative conversation. One conversation that allows for individuals to strike into their critical thinking, you know what I mean? As well as making you think about some shit you already thought about your whole entire life a little bit differently. Today's topic, we got a lot of itinerary, and I'm gonna try to be kind of quick and efficient because I got an important meeting at 11:30 Central today. But the 4 topics. First, we're gonna be getting into this Diddy, Marlon Wayans defending Diddy, or is he defending Diddy? But he's beefing with 50 Cent. Second thing we're gonna be getting into is this teenage Oklahoma student that was convicted of raping 2 high schoolers that got off. Yeah, you definitely want to be tuning in on that one. The third thing, you know, man, it's gonna be ugly as a Texan. You know what I mean? The way this James Tellerico, Jasmine Crocket shit is already jumping off in the first couple of days. We're gonna be getting into that, talking about Zionism, talking about how they how they have made statements that I don't like, or how they've made positions that I don't like, specifically about, you know, Israel, Palestine, but understanding as a Texan, like they both of them is better than, you know, John Cornyn, whatever the hell his name is, you know. And then the last thing, Donald Trump say that black people, he said black people know scamming. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into that. If I don't get into everything though, I'll be going live sometime tonight. You feel me? So shout out to that. You know what I mean? Getting right into it though. Oh, where y'all at? I ended it right here. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. That's what I did. That's what I did right there, man. Shout out to Marlon Wayans. And hey, and before I even play this video, like I know that there would be some individuals that is going to interpret what he says different. I think as a debater, as a former debater, understanding how some of y'all can be lost in the sauce of making totalizing claims, it's always important to say, hey, interpretations vary. And just because somebody don't have your interpretation, don't mean you should have a little temper tantrum or a little hissy fit, or you start drawing these lines in the sand where you feel like you want to define your relationship to a person through that disagreement. I will say I am disappointed in the way in which Marlon Wayans articulates himself, but I'm gonna play it.
Abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject.
When I start saying shit that y'all disagree with, listen to what Marlon Wayans saying. I'm about to give an opinion, you know what I mean? And I think that my opinion is going to be a little bit structured. So I think that my opinion will be a bit evidence-based. You know, I think that that's something that he's failing to do right here. And I feel like I'm going to get into my portable skills as a debater as well and give y'all somebody after this that I think this is what Marlon Wayans was trying to say. So I feel like he is a expert communicator, somebody that's been in the media for my whole life and should be able to say what he mean and mean what he say in a much better way than this, because for me, come off as a little rape apologist, but I'll let y'all decide.
Period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you. Never. Don't let nobody bully you. You got me? Love. Now back to trolling this troll.
Now, before I play my good sister Dominique's video, I do disagree with what Marlon Wayans saying he said. If I tell you, hey, you kicking a person while they down, I don't give a damn what you trying to say and extrapolate as you are, in fact, defending the person that you're saying should not be kicked while they down. For me, if you are an abuser or you're a rapist, you don't get no moral high ground, or you don't get the sympathy in terms of sportsmanship when talking about kicking somebody while they down. This euphemism, You know what I mean? It comes from a sports metaphor about how, you know, the individual getting their ass whooped, it's not good sportsmanship, or it's not being, you feel me, you're not showing great equity or respect for the competition. You're hitting them while they're down. I would argue Diddy deserves no respect. Diddy deserves no respect. I watched him in 4K kick Cassie while she was down. Marlon, we needed that selective moral outrage for you to be sitting in with it at that moment. Right now, a lot of y'all like to talk about, well, two things can be true at the same time, but you only talk about those two things being true when it's in defense of the bullshit you shouldn't even be defending. So can I admit, is 50 Cent doing this for the preservation or talking about, you know, the livelihood of the victims? Hell no. Does he have personal egotistical motives for how he's going after Diddy? Yes. Do I think that 50 Cent is hitting Diddy while he down? Hell no. Hell no. And just because I understand how you know, sometimes when we're trying to say don't come out, I'm doing live streams right now every Wednesday, you know, 10:30 Central. Holla at me in the AM Wednesday mornings. So I get in these live streams, sometimes I'm gonna get excited. I'm ADHD, bipolar, shout out to all my neurodivergent people. I'm gonna get a little excited. Sometimes words can be minced. You feel me? I'll be the first to acknowledge that. But when you double down and you start posting AI pictures of 50 Cent and Diddy, because he posted a picture of you talking about how you was at a Diddy party and having a tweet talking about how lit they was. Hey man, now you're coming off as being a rape apologist, or as somebody that believes that black men should always have solidarity for black men, even if they're convicted for doing some nefarious things or some unethical, demonic things. And the last thing I'll say, because I feel like I'm about to play this video, and I feel like this is what he was trying to say. But before I get into that, if an individual is convicted for doing some demonic shit, and people want to kick them for being in a state of being a demon, you telling me kicking the demon while they down is bad? I think now that you either A, identify with that demon, or B, you think demons should also already have some sympathy. And that's why I feel like we start to disagree. However, like Dominique said,
I'm not interested in a not kind, ill-intentioned man, harmful man producing a documentary about another unkind, ill-intentioned, harmful man.
Oh God.
50 Cent making a documentary about Sean Combs is not about him amplifying the stories of people he victimized, or it's not even about him really giving a fuck about people who experience.
It's not about him amplifying the stories of the women that Diddy victimized. It was about not even manufacturing. It was about making sure that when Diddy gets out of jail, that he's not able to capitalize off of how he's been criminalized, even though I think that he has been rightfully criminalized. For me, when it comes to this Diddy conversation, a lot of y'all would try to recenter the conversation about how you felt like it wasn't right for him to get charged with the RICO. Being able to discursively marginalize how violence towards women is what we should be centering. So instead of us centering violence towards women, instead of us centering sexual assault, you want to center the idea that somebody lied. You feel like Cassie lied, so because Cassie, you know what I'm saying? So we start to get into the way that Marlon Wayans is engaged in this. To me, I would argue that it perpetuates or it heightens all these different fallacies and all these different ways to trivialize how there are women that experience sexual violence and men that experience sexual violence as well in the rap industry that everybody knew Diddy was doing. And because of power, because of individuals wanting to be seduced with getting different type of opportunities in the rap game or different opportunities in the industry, you allow for this shit to pass. And a lot of y'all that defend Diddy, y'all have a lot of things to say when it comes to women being violated when you think it's a trans woman. But when it's Diddy,
harm. This is the man. Yeah, Tierra Marie played and all that other stuff, but for me, with the 50 Cent Tierra Marie thing, it got to the point where it was like ugly, nasty bullying. 50 Cent don't give a fuck about black women. He don't give a fuck about women at all. He don't give a fuck about his children. The biracial looking child is barely hanging on.
Rocky, I agree with you, Rocky Lane. I love that she made this from the bed because that's the energy for this. That's the energy for this. And as a matter of fact, right now, there's a great documentary on Netflix called Songs from the Hole. It's a story about this black child, James Johnson. I can't think, JJ, I can't think of what JJ stands for right now. But there's a documentary that illustrates what accountability actually looks like from a black man when he's been able to wreak havoc on the community and thinking about and sitting with how because his actions that he created, somebody got to heal. He's acknowledging that because he decided to do something crazy and take somebody's life, how it impacted his family. That's what we need to be talking about and seeing, and not really just always already sensationalizing rapists, especially when you're doing it in a way where you're trying to defend them. Like, that shit ain't admirable at all. And if you don't care, if you got an issue with this, like, I probably ain't the person for you.
Whatever Curtis went through, there's a lot happening there. He's the rap motherfucking Brian McKnight. But that being said, I don't want that story from him because you need your own documentary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the other thing that's funny,
Marlon Wayans, man, I appreciate everything you've done for the culture. I am consciously, people, you know what I'm saying? My name is George Lee, consciously. I'm hoping that you will see this. I have an experience with being a policy debater. And I think that when you are a judge or when you're a coach and you're telling your, you know what I'm saying? You're telling the debater they made bad arguments. It's always constructive to show them the better way that they could have made the arguments or the better way they could have conveyed that message in a different framing. So I'm hoping that our good sister Dominique is able to give you some language and give you a framework of how you can criticize 50 Cent and saying that he's Diddy in a different font while not being a rape apologist or not come off as you're trying to have this moral way of saying we shouldn't kick Diddy while he's down. Especially when you shared that meme of 12 years a slave, it was so cringy and icky, like, hold on. So he a slave because you feel like you're telling on Diddy? The nigga already been convicted. You feel me? Now, if you want to make an argument that, hey, you're commodifying, you know what I'm saying? 50 Cent is commodifying the violence and harm that Diddy did for his ego and for his own expense, and he doesn't care about the ill will of the victims. That's a different criticism. You see what I'm saying? It is centering now the commodification of the suffering and violence that he committed and not trying to say he should get sympathy because he's down right now. He's down right now because he kicked a lot of people down right now. You feel me? He should be more than down right now. You know what I mean? So when we start seeing people in 4K do fucked up shit and you're still able to act like Mary Magdalene, Mother Teresa, and you know what? Mother Teresa, bad, probably say that for another thing, but you get my point. My point is when you try to act very self-righteous and start talking about, you know, morals and ethics in regards to a person that's done something bad because you think they shouldn't be hit because they're being accused or because they're being acknowledged or because they're being drugged for doing something bad, that shit be crazy.
To me, is that 50 Cent went out of his way to silence like the mother of his children from telling stories and being on platforms. This is him having a messy get back. And then the Today Show and shit are interviewing him like he's some Patronus of valor or something like that. He's a trifling ass person. Even the whole BMF thing, it's like, you cancel that show, you ate off of this incarcerated, now formerly incarcerated, essentially elderly black man. And he gets out and you know his son barely know how to wash his ass, right?
Hey, Miss J, shout out to you for making that comment. I get what you're saying. People should stay in their lane, and sometimes it's best to stay neutral. I think sometimes maybe it's better to stay silent, but sometimes, you know, we have quotes about when you stay silent in the face of violence. We have quotes about when you choose to be neutral and objective in the face of oppression. So though I know that people should mind their ministry they in, and sometimes it's like, hey, this ain't your ministry. This ain't your calling right here. We don't need your opinion on everything, but we should be very critical when we start talking about neutrality and being silent, especially when it deals with violence and it deals with individuals that come from a community that's seen as being historically disenfranchised, or communities that's seen as being, or groups of people that's seen as being vulnerable to oppression and violence. And in this instance, talking about women. So I would think that, you know,
finally supporting the family about getting opportunities and like over your years-long beef with this other. This is all a circle jerk of ain't shit niggas. And I don't need a Discovery Go piece of media from any of them. I would just like them to go away. I would just like for them to evaporate in the ether. You know what I'm saying? Like white lighter powers, bitch. But yeah,
Give me your.
Okay, before I get into this next story right here, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna see for you people like you, David Peterson, when you talk about white supremacists or running around mangling up things and y'all on this bullshit, if you don't understand the interconnected nature of gender violence and white supremacy, then I think not only have you not read, you should be an avid listener to the research of a Me Search live streaming podcast, because I'm gonna teach your ass something today. You feel me? And every time you tune in, see what happened is a lot of y'all like to make distinctions, you feel me, or like to detach the way in which we understand women and understand gendered violence and misogyny and patriarchy, how that comes from a particular culture, a culture of white supremacy. So even when it comes to Diddy, Diddy felt like he should be able to get away with the shit, and he was able to get away with the shit because of how he benefited white supremacy. There were white folks that was in power that pretty much kind of turned the blind eye to what Diddy was doing, all because they benefited him. So what you see is that black people in our community can become tools and fungible objects of white supremacy that literally is able to line the individual profits of themselves at the expense of niggas, women, and bitches. See what I'm saying? So when you try to say it's more important things for us to focus on and this, that, and the other, hey, listen, think about this. The victims that Diddy fucked over, they were trying to survive a system of white supremacy. So when Diddy was trying to fuck them over and actually fucking them over, he had more important things to focus on, like deconstructing white supremacy. But he wasn't doing that. You see what I'm saying? So we see again, you are picking and choosing what you think is relevant, all in a way to insulate somebody from accountability, from responsibility. And y'all ain't slick, y'all ain't tricking nobody. Anytime we start to deal with an abuser inside of our community and you want to say it's more important things and you point out abuse outside the community, hey, man, getting into my debate background is something called an impact calculus, and we do a comparative analysis, right? So we all agree that violence to people in our community is bad. Violence in our community is bad. We agree on that impact being bad. Now we get to start trying to figure out how do we mitigate and understand, how do we deal with internalized intracommunal violence versus the violence that happens extracommunal outside the community, right? And what we know is that if you're dealing with violence inside the community, you have a closer proximity with that way that violence is being sent. You have a closer proximity with the individuals that's committing that violence. It's the reason why, statistically speaking, it is more likely for a woman to experience intimate gender violence from their partner, not from a random motherfucker off the street. And that's what we see what Diddy was able to do. Even how some of y'all is trying to engage in racial tropes about him being a victim, like what Marlon Wayans is doing. These type of ideas is always being used to justify violence towards black women. Hey, peep game. We all know that Justice Clarence Thomas is a shit-flinging Uncle Tom that always loves to sympathize to white supremacy at the expense of niggas. We know that, right? We also kind of gloss over the way he got into that position. See, a lot of us was young. I'm a millennial, you know what I'm saying? I just turned 35 yesterday. Shout out to myself, I'll say it again. But listen, Clarence Thomas was able to paint himself as a victim of a legal lynching or a media lynching while capitulating to white supremacy. Anita Hill said that Clarence Thomas put a pubic hair on her soda can trying to shoot. You feel me? At this time, Clarence Thomas, if you know, he won the wars against DEI, cuz really was a DEI, you feel me, Supreme Court goddamn appointee, because some white conservative wanted to prove that he liked niggas too and he cared about niggas too. He chose you. So what does this have to do with Diddy? Hey, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because it's coming right here. You think that white supremacist violence has nothing to do with the way in which how black women are always magnetized towards violence. I have an amazing episode coming out that y'all should check out. It's coming out very, 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 very soon. And it gets into the history of how white supremacy is always upheld by gender violence towards women. And it also gets into how a lot of us black men, we have internalized, master patriarchy. And we think that if we enact the type of violence on the women in our community like the white man did, that he'll be able to give us some respect. That's what Diddy was doing, keeping the stack. Diddy felt like, I want to be a billionaire too. So what do white billionaires do? fuck people over. I believe in equity. You know what I'm saying? I see my boy Deontay Kyle talking about how billionaires have class solidarity. And they have a certain type of class solidarity that middle class, working class people don't have. Diddy decided that he was going to negotiate in white supremacy and being in class solidarity with the other billionaires at the expense of a whole bunch of niggas. But y'all think that's cool because one day you dream to be a millionaire too, a billionaire too. I ain't got time for you, man. We're gonna get into now this next way. I think that now we're getting into a new topic. I spent 13 years in the state of Oklahoma. I got a degree from the University of Oklahoma. I got 2 degrees. I got 3 degrees from the University of Oklahoma. I got an undergraduate in African American studies. I got a master's degree in human relations. I got another master's degree in adult and higher education. Now, I know Samantha Fulnacki and the story I'm about to get into make you where y'all might not see those degrees from the University of Oklahoma or the state of Oklahoma as being prestige. But if any of y'all want to try me out, intellectually bust your ass. But listen, ain't my point of flexing on you like that. My point is thinking about how sexual violence, when it's justified towards white women, thinking about how the hierarchy of violence and how we care about who violence is committed towards, how it means black women are put in an even more vulnerable position. Y'all remember that white police officer that got convicted for using his position in that badge to sexually assault black women? That was in Oklahoma. Jesse Mack Butler, an 18-year-old from Oklahoma, was facing up to 80 years in prison after being convicted for brutally R-wording and assaulting 2 high school girlfriends. Under a shocking sweetheart plea deal, Butler and his son, Butler, the son of a prominent local sports coach, was sentenced just 1 year rehab and community service. The reason why I talked about me being in Oklahoma for 13 years, I know niggas that got caught with an eighth of this. In fact, I know somebody that got caught with an eighth of mid. I'm talking about some backyard boogie. They got sentenced worse than what this person did. He got convicted of violating 2 high school children, 2 high school students. That's gonna forever have their psyche and be traumatized because what this individual did to him, and all they got is what they got. I'll play the clip now.
Wallet and phone and stuff. So, okay. Your what?
They're in the car.
Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay. So, can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah. So we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact.
As y'all watch this shit, I'm thinking about all my homeboys, my homegirls, the times I done seen my mommy and my daddy handled. I'm talking about handled like they motherfucking like they serial killers. Like they big cartel dealers. Thrown on the ground, slung. Shit, I'd have been handled worse than this by law enforcement for them thinking I did some shit I ain't even do. This man is being treated with tender love and care. They are preserving his humanity. It's almost like he's still presumed innocent or proven guilty, even after he proven guilty. When white folks was beefing with critical race theory, even though it wasn't being taught in K through 12, they told us the boogeyman it was. Critical race theory was a literature base that gave me the language to talk about the way that racism is codified within the law. And I think what happened with Jesse Butler is one of those ways to always show you how white supremacy and white privilege is codified within the law. I got a lot of homeboys and a lot of family members that's here in Houston and in Bryan, Texas. They got charged as an adult when they were 15, 16 years old. This man, 18 years old. He's 18 years old and his mom is able to come, hey, son, my rapist son that I raised. I'm a white woman. I know I won't ever be held culpable, accountable for raising these little Hitlers, these little Nazis. But hey, I get to be the privilege of being an individual. And son, can you come out? The law enforcement said that you did something to your girlfriends. Hey, I seen some on this shit that said that the mother listened to one of the girls scream for 30 seconds. $30 seconds. Look at him.
Bondsman, and you shouldn't be very long, but there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
I question this mother's morals that she raised them on. Your son is being taken to jail for rape. And your rhetorical question is, do you have to put him in handcuffs? Fam, how many black mothers get demonized for saying they trying to protect they criminal thug son? So to me, it just blow my mind how like power always perverts reality. And the same folks that say that we protect criminals and we protect thugs and we have an anti-snitching culture be the same folks that talk about not crossing the blue line and having a fellow officer business back no matter what, right, wrong, true or false. And you see you have these white mothers raising school shooters and rapists. Do we have to be put in handcuffs? Come on, man. That shit don't even make sense, man.
You know what the limits. It's okay.
And black folks watching this, what would they say to a black woman or a black mother doing this? To make sure, rhetorically, because I know I got some people in my audience that's not black. Black people, how would we be treated? How would your mama and grandma and auntie be treated? Hey, if your uncle was wanted for selling a little dope and the laws came to the door and your mom acted this way, she gonna get charged for being a drug dealer too.
Yeah. I'll get you out. For me? All right. Stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Okay, so he's gonna go right to the city Stillwater jail, and if you'll just contact her, then she does this all the time. She knows what to do.
Yep.
Okay.
She knows.
Parenting a predator. Not only parenting a predator, I'm thinking about the way that white supremacy and the adultification of black children is something that's not bipartisan. I know whether I'm in the city of Philadelphia, the city of Bryan, Texas, I can be in Oakland, I can be in Birmingham, Alabama. I know that both white liberals and white Republicans all buy into the adultification of black children. And I'm thinking about how, though it was Hillary Clinton that made the super predator comment, I'm thinking about how the entirety of white America buys into the adultification of children and how this 18-year-old is being seen as a child. As a child. I know I can probably go to 3rd Ward or 5th Ward or Sunnyside or South Park and I can just go on the street and find me a little 15-year-old that's trying to survive. He tired of eating sleep for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Mom and daddy going through shit. Niggas selling them rocks. He gonna get charged as an adult. And he not gonna get no rehab. He gonna get sent to TDCJ. He gonna be with them 25, 35, 45-year-olds as a 15-year-old. Let that marinate, really. I just...
Police Department, not county.
Stillwater Police Department
Yeah,
on Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know that we're the ones that picked him up.
And when you say we are the ones.
Stillwater PD.
Stillwater PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way they don't think you went like straight over and over the county.
Positive experience for a child.
Terrence Crutcher got killed by the police in Tulsa, Oklahoma with his hands up. Central Park 5. They were actual children and they were seen as adults. And all of them got their entire life, you know what I'm saying, taken on because there was one woman that said she was raped. And now all 5 of these. So I'm just really thinking about even somebody asked the question, y'all talking about this bullshit like we're doing this. It's like, how have we racialized sexual violence? And how can we be critical about how we are able to rationalize sexual violence happening to certain bodies more than others, and how we're able to rationalize the aggressors, the initiators of a sexual violence or gender violence, you feel me? We able to see who able to get away with it, you know what I mean? And my beef be, a lot of y'all R. Kelly apologist offenders and P. Diddy offenders usually be like, well, if a white man get away with rape, then my black man should too. And I'm gonna just show these 2 stories back to back, you know what I'm saying? Talking about Diddy and then talking about Jesse Mack Butler and seeing, hey, when bell hooks talk about white supremacist patriarchy, or when these white folks talking about boys being boys, a lot of times, white men, black men, native men, Asian men, We all will figure out a way to have solidarity at the expense of these women, at the expense of normalizing gender violence, at the expense of normalize the way that we discriminate towards women, view them as objects that you either have sex on or you beat on. And some of you suckers gonna see it as simping and pandering, and I question who raised you.
Spread your feet for me. Nothing in your socks.
Just want to provide something, man. Jesse Butler, he got deemed a youthful offender. A youthful offender. Do I have anybody in the audience that has experienced Texas Youth Corrections, TYC? Man. Yeah. Hey, IMK, the contrast is contrast, and I agree. Jasmine Rose, I'm gonna get into that. Study covert institutions. Like, I'm not getting into that in this live. I'm gonna personally go do that and then hopefully be able to teach y'all on the live stream. Shout out to y'all. You say, Jasmine Rose say covert laws makes covert laws makers and covert power leaders like Clive Davis use others to do the dirty work. Fred Hampton and William O'Neill, everything is covert and subtle racism. Definitely. And if you ain't paying attention close enough, you can get lost in the sauce and drown in your own. You can think deeply about shallow shit, drown in your own understanding, and it all be used to push the boat of white supremacy further down the stream. Initially facing 78-year sentence on multiple charges related to rape, Butler was granted youthful offender status after a conviction in August. Butler was the son of a prominent family that was placed on probation avoiding jail. Butler is required to complete youthful offender rehabilitation plan that includes court-mandated community service and counseling. In the name of being intersectional, we see how class is something that's able to insulate violence that happens inside the white community, that allows for more affluent white folks to get over on more poor white folks in the name of, hey man, shit happens, and you know what I'm saying? I got money to pay for a lawyer. You don't got money to pay for a lawyer. You feel me? Just think about it. It's a white mom and dad that's dealing and protecting their son. That's shit being a predator, and that was being a predator. And you got a white mom and dad that's trying to, you know what I'm saying, console their daughter that was a victim of this predator. How the system mitigated who mattered more? Shit, who had that money on? Who had the ties? And then what I know, Oklahoma is 50th in education. But they will show you and illustrate to you what they really care about when it comes to that goddamn football. You 50th in education. The University of Oklahoma, the best university in the state of Oklahoma, now is being held in question for its prestige. And you have the other University of Oklahoma that's being complicit. The Oklahoma State University that has a former director of the athletic program that is able to get away scot-free on sexual assault, all because you got a daddy, you know what I'm saying, that's involved with this. Just that's involved with this. Like, this one right here, man. I might not even get to the last one. I'm before I even get into the video. I'm born and raised in Texas. I'm further left than a lot of Texans. There's been a lot of conversation around Jasmine Crocket, around James Tallarico, around their involvement with Zionism, with defending the state of Israel, with being able to discursively marginalize what, you know what I'm saying, Palestinians. Both of them have talked about, you know, and acknowledged what happened to Palestinians. Both of them haven't really said the G word. Right now, I am very critical about how we talk about saving democracy and how we talk about doing with democracy. When it comes to Trump doing fucked up shit, we're able to talk about saving the tenets of democracy, being able to protest, being able to be critical of who's in office, being able to respect the democratic process of having a primary and then going into that. But something been weird these last year and a half, where the major tenets of democracy that we champion, that gives us the freedom to talk about what we want to talk about, and this, I feel like it's being taken away, and I'm very critical of it. I also think too is that there is a bunch of anti-blackness in the game. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let my boy Jolly Gender video play entirely before I say anything.
Voted for the National Security Supplemental back in April, which underwrote Israel's war effort. Absolutely did vote for it. I voted for that along with every other supplemental that was available.
Good morning. I just woke up, so ignore my hair. This clip is going around the internet right now, and they're using it to call Jasmine Crocket a Zionist, but it didn't feel right to me. So I scoured the internet and I found the entire interview for some context. This interview happened in October 2024, last year, before the election. And here's the part they didn't show you.
When you look at Israel, I think it is important that people start to talk about the fact that the state of Israel versus their leadership. Because right now, or when I went to Israel, I know that the people were protesting Netanyahu because Netanyahu was reforming the courts. In addition to the fact that Netanyahu was under investigation along with people in his administration. Sound familiar?
Now, her entire answer is 1 minute and 11 seconds. But in the interest of keeping this video,
What say? You can debate her stance here if you want, but this is what she said. He said it's not Zionism. I would. That's my boy. So I feel like me and him could have a conversation being like, it's not Zionism, but it capitulates to it. But still, you know what I'm saying? Making sure we understand that we're not saying she should not be, you know what I'm saying, beef with. We're not saying we should, you know what I mean? Miss Jasmine playing the whole video right here. I think that it's important that we be very critical about what is the root of how you send a criticism and how a lot of individuals are using their criticisms about different things to play into white supremacy and anti-blackness, especially when it comes to being critical of Jasmine Crocket. But I will say I'm very critical of Jasmine Crocket as well. I rock with sis. I like sis, but I don't agree with everything she say. Like I'm sure she don't agree with everything I say. You know what I'm saying? I talked to James Tellerico before in this team. I don't agree with everything they say at all. But I do know I don't care for now one of a full-blown position on Zionism and on Israel. I don't like either of their implications in it, and this video about to get more into it.
Under 3 minutes, let me just summarize what she said. What she said is foreign aid shouldn't be totally dependent on the leader of a country because it harms the people of the country. Just like if Donald Trump wins the election, she wouldn't want people to deny foreign aid to America just because our leadership sucks. And why, might you ask, was that her answer? Because the votes that this guy is talking about is this vote right here, which is a foreign aid package to not just Israel, but also to Haiti and to Taiwan, and even aid supervision to Gaza. And in this aid package, it limits the weapons that Israel gets from this aid package to defensive weapons. And in the second vote that he could be talking about is this vote right here. It also limits the weapons that Israel can use to defensive weapons. And this vote was also part of an overall vote, which included support to Ukraine and other countries. You see, Jasmine Crocket explains in this interview that she has to consider diplomacy and all these other factors when she is making her vote because it includes aid to all the countries. There was two separate votes, which was individual votes about just Israel and about arming Israel. It's this vote right here and this vote right here, and she voted no on that. So to recap, the packages she voted yes on are foreign aid packages that limits the weapons Israel can use to defensive weapons, but on the votes that have to do with giving weapons to Israel, she voted no. Question, does that sound like a Zionist? Doesn't sound like one to me. And let's add her track record of never taking AIPAC money to the mix. Now, I understand that James Tallarico said he wasn't going to take AIPAC money. However, he did take money from this lady, pro-Israel conservative donor, who donates money to people who are improving Israel-U.S. ties. So let's hope that he's serious about not taking AIPAC money. Jasmine Crocket, on the other hand, real life hasn't taken AIPAC money. Time and again, she has denounced what happened in Gaza, and she's spoken out against Netanyahu. But none of you motherfuckers wanted to do an iota of research. You just wanted to jump on a clip that you saw going around the internet because baseball is not America's favorite pastime. Anti-blackness is.
Let me tell you, black people.
I know right now, man, we in dire times. And a lot of us black people still feel hurt and let down by a lot of non-black folks and how we felt like y'all acted in this plantation, how you acted in, I said plantation, it's a plantation too, but how you acted during this election. And I think because a lot of us, and you know what I'm saying, not me particularly, but you know what I'm saying, thinking about the community I'm in, a lot of us feel always played by anti-blackness and white supremacy. We felt as if, you know what I'm saying, there are different ways that criticisms of black politicians don't be the same as white politicians. For me, personally, I think that Jasmine Crocket talking about Israel being able to exist before she was alive and how it would exist in perpetuity, I got an issue with that. You know what I'm saying? What she said at the beginning of the clip that y'all just played, yeah, I got an issue with that. But I think the context of what she's saying is also important, but it don't change. So it's like, Do I fault you for the way that fat gets puts in bills to make it where in order for Gazans to get aid, they have to also give weapons to Israel? That's a fucked up. That's crazy to me. You see what I'm saying? But like that's what she voted for. You know what I mean? James Talarico, when it was him and Colin Allred, hey, I'm like, hey, bro, what you need me to do? I got you. But you know, now it's him and Jasmine Crocket, so it changed a little bit. But now that I did more research, it's like, hey, I think that it means something for James Talarico to say, you know what I mean, that this individual should denounce some PAC money, and then he took $50,000 from, you know what I'm saying, this individual that's obviously pro-Israeli, that's also, you know what I'm saying, obviously a Zionist, that obviously gives money to strengthen the ties of U.S. and Israel. So for me, I think about what Dr. Angela Davis talks about in terms of when you go vote, you trying to pick who you want to fight against. And for me, regardless of who wins out of these two, I think it is more likely for them to use their position in being a Texas senator in order to make sure the state funds ain't going towards Israel. And I think that the people that be more willing to listen to us on the left in any way, shape, or fashion. You feel me? I do think that democracy is about us criticizing them and getting what we want from their ass to get our vote during the primary. And I understand that a lot of y'all gonna be pissed off about it, but I do think this, in terms of domestic issues, international issues, I know that a lot of Texans do care about Israel-Palestine. I know a lot of Texans don't care about Israel-Palestine. You feel me? If we understand that there's always something that makes it where the more majority Democrat registered Texans don't come out to vote, and the lesser registered Republicans always outvote us, we have to figure out a way to make sure we don't commit voter apathy, as well as figuring out a way to make sure we inspire voters to come out into the into the primary. I think that primaries usually make candidates better. What I'm scared of, however, is that it causes a fraction within the left in Texas. We ain't had a Democratic senator in Texas for 36 years. I turned 35 yesterday. My entire life, the state being ran by Republicans. My entire life, the state has been ran by Republicans. Dr. Angela Davis say, hey, who you ready to fight against? The Republicans in this state, there's no way, shape, or fashion they care about the political, social, economic implications of Black and brown people in this state. They flat out don't give a damn. They only care about sustaining a hierarchy of white Anglo-Texans being above all other Texans. So with that being said, I think that James Talarico and Jasmine Crocket, like I already like how James Talarico already made a public statement, like, hey, y'all, we're gonna win this shit with class. Don't be talking shit. Like, don't try to handle Jasmine Crocket in any particular way. That's my colleague. I respect her winning the primaries. You know what I'm saying? And likewise, Jasmine Crocket, regardless of what y'all say, sis got some class. You feel me? She got some flavor in her shit, you know what I mean? But she also kind of on the same thing. Like, hey, we finna run a nice, fair, clean primary, and we ain't got to make it about no personal insults. We ain't got to make it about, we can make this about policies, which brings me to my point. I think democracy, the way it's set up, you know what I'm saying? The way when it work how it needs to work, goddamn, is that, hey, a politician is given a lot of money and resources and time to travel and campaign to get the support of people to then vote for them. It's a sequencing that happens. I would argue that a lot of people on the left and right, in this instance, the left, take the onus of campaigning and the politicians earning support on the constituents and saying, nah, she deserves your support, he deserves your support. And it's like, what? And I think now we're starting to see this happen all across the board. Some of y'all want to insulate Gavin Newsom, even though he's transphobic. You feel me? Hey, as a matter of fact, like this right here. Gavin Newsom, I would never forget how you took your rabbit ass on Charlie Kirk's podcast and your olive branch, and how you was gonna be able to create solidarity with Charlie Kirk in the right was through trivializing trans existence, trans reality, trans visibility. And I never forget that shit, Gavin Newsom. So regardless of individuals playing the lesser of two evils, yeah, even if I'm able to say, yeah, you a little better than it, nah, fam, I see you, and I ain't gonna never forget that shit. I would never forget that you thought the cool way to cozy up to a white supremacist is throwing trans women under the bus. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because some of y'all will say, you feel me, what you disagree with, like identity politics, y'all only saying this to this person because they Black. And then y'all fold this, Gavin Newsom better than this. We can't. When is it a time to criticize the politician on our side to push them to be better for us? Or is it always only about them beating the opposition? Because I think that as a politic, if we center, how do the politician take care of the constituents? And not only how do they oppose the opposition, then we have a better reality, politically, socially, economically, to get the resources that we want. I hope that through all of the dialogue about Zionism and Jasmine Crocket and James Tallarico leads to individuals feeling like they should be being more politically conscious and therefore more politically invested, and therefore thinking about all of the various implications in the way that shit spill over when we start talking about and thinking about how these elections happen. What I will say too is that New Yorkers, when everybody in the country was talking about, you know what I mean, the primaries in y'all city, and y'all was like, shut the hell up, y'all live around here. I get it. I get it. It's one of the reasons why I kind of minded my back. I made a couple of videos here and there, but it's like ultimately New Yorkers will decide what is best for New Yorkers. That's what's gonna happen. And ultimately here in Texas, what are we gonna do? Texan Democrats will decide which one of those is better. And to be clear, I'm a registered independent. I'm a registered independent that deal with these goddamn politicians from issue to issue to issue, always forefronting what I think would be best for my community. And what I understand is that these politicians, they ain't my mama, they ain't my grandma, they ain't my auntie, they ain't my family member. They are public servants that's indebted to me. I don't have no parasocial relationship with no politician. I say that as somebody that's been able to have some relationships with politicians where I talk to them and reach out to me. But shit, they know they reach out to me. Hey, Conscious Lee gonna tell me how he feel. And if he think he disagree, he gonna tell me he think he disagree. He gonna tell me why. And it's just like, if you ever want to come be in front of the fireplace with me, just understand, I'm going to challenge you. Understand that it's not going to be me playing a softball to make it where you look like you're looking good, or to make it where my platform becomes an armchair for you to campaign for. Listen, fam, listen, I got to be able to be critical with you. And I think that in this process of the primary election, us in Texas, we have to be critical with the differences on policy between James Tallarico and Jasmine Crocket. Healthcare, education, shit, the way that budget gets given to ICE, the way that us in rural areas and in inner urban areas is having our quality education being stripped in our infrastructure in terms of transportation. All of these things is what a senator does. And I think that a lot of people right now need to just lock in and figure out and understand what is the role and responsibility of the office they're running for, and understanding that the power they have and power they don't have, while also just being, you know what I mean, more educated, more informed on the topic, more informed on the subject, man. Let me get into the comment section before I get into the last thing. Shout out to you, Miss J. Pull back up on me, man. Pull back up on me next weekend, next Wednesday. Appreciate you for stopping by. We never fully agree with anything that anyone does. Have a policy matters. Hey, Miss Jazz, like, I agree with you so much. My fear is that social media has polarized our society so much that it's always an all or nothing. The way we used to be able to have some disagreements or have some meaningful conversations around competing interpretations, it used to be more camaraderie around it, especially when it comes to being on the same side. Donald Trump has fucked up our country so much that even the opposition has bought into a lot of the tactics that he plays in. A lot of us on the left are now, to me, deploying a lot of the bad rhetorical gaslighting to do on the right. You know what I'm saying? When you start to act like you in a cult, and because your person getting criticized, you feel like you being criticized, and it's like, nah, we don't get down like that. And again, listen. No, there will be things you disagree with. No, I don't know anybody that I agree with everything they say. No, I don't know everybody I know nobody that agree with everything I say. What do we do with these disagreements? Especially if we understand these disagreements going to impact reality. Because a lot of y'all want to take y'all ball and just go home. And I think that's the issue. That's the issue right there, real large. We gonna say, yeah, Clarence, you late. I'm saying you late, Clarence. Don't worry about it though. If you missed the beginning of the live stream, you're always able to go to wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and be able to check out whatever you missed. I know I've been saying this for 2 weeks. I promise it's coming up. It's gonna get there this week. I got a few more minutes, man. One more segment to get into, because you know Donald Trump loves keeping our name in his mouth. Donald Trump loves to, man. I'm gonna play the clip.
Love Trump. I got the biggest vote. I got the biggest vote with black people. They know a scam better than anybody. They know what it is to be scammed. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. We did great. Thank you. I like this guy.
Trump scammed so goddamn much. He was hit with a $354 million penalty in a 3-year ban in New York because he had lost a fraud case. Black people so good at a scam. The reason why we was the demographic that supported your ass the lowest, because you a scammer, bro. You a fraud. You know what I mean? We don't give a damn how fast you talk, how much makeup you put on, how much shit you put over that toupee, how much you say bigly. You're a scammer. And a lot of us Southern niggas, we was warned about a fast talking New Yorker like yourself and how much you scam. But facts of the feelings though, I want to make sure I brought my receipts. I want to bring my receipts so nobody understand and thinking I'm just making up shit. Trump University is an absolute scam. This is what Marco Rubio, one of his homeboys, say about him. Now Marco Rubio is probably a habitual Trump thing sucker. You know what I'm saying? Probably got that thing in this now so much he can't even focus on what he got going on himself. But he was able to acknowledge that he engaged in scamming. So when he say black people understand scamming, like hell yeah, we do. So much, it's probably why you have never gotten much of our vote. Donald Trump hit where it hurts in this New York fraud ruling. And it's just all the various ways that this man has been able to engage in fraud, finessing, doing a bunch of shit that black people get put up under the jail for, and it allows for him to be seen as qualified for president. Very crazy this shit with. Very crazy this shit with. He bankrupt casinos. He bankrupt, like, actually, let's sit with that actually. Aaliyah K. Bankrupting casinos let you know they business acumen and let people know how hey, you gotta suspend your own logic and critical thinking to think a person that bankrupt a casino is good in business. You just got like you had to divorce yourself from being intelligent in any way, shape, or fashion to say an individual that's ran multiple businesses into the ground is good in business. And this right here, how we ended, and thinking about the intersections of capitalism, white supremacy, and gender violence, and how a lot of people in our community, sometimes and usually cisgender black men, think that we can get some humanity or experience some mobility while playing into by playing into capitalism, white supremacy, and gender violence, and that shit bad. And throughout this live stream, we done seen, you feel me, different ways of how these systems of power bring about a reality that disproportionately impacts black people writ large, especially black women. I have not seen the P. Diddy documentary, and at first I was not gonna watch that shit. Like, I know what you did, you know what you did. I'm not interested in buying into but now y'all got me interested in wanting to see it, especially if I can give me a nice little psychoanalysis about how Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, while every time he kept on creating his name, I seen a little clip that said every time he created his alias, he was trying to run from something. Very, very interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. I also seen my boy Torre talk about how the documentary misrepresented some of those interviews. One of those particular interviews with Biggie talking about how he was scared in this apartment complex. It was actually Torre actually interviewed him then. He talked about how this interview took place months before what happened at Tupac, showing that it was some shit that's taken out of context in his documentary. So I want to check it out for myself now, because I've learned with y'all on this internet to never take y'all perspective on it. Never take y'all interpretation on it. Look at it for myself and come to my own conclusion. That's why I learned from dealing with y'all. And I already knew it, but sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you get caught up in the hoopla and trying to get out a quick little video, and then you just, you know what I'm saying, you do it like that, man. Education is elevation. I actually got through this a lot quicker than I thought I would. Feel free to shoot me an email at info@theconstantly.com or in the comment section. Let me know what other topics y'all like me to get into. This is a weekly live stream every Wednesday morning, 10:30 a.m. Central. Pull in with me, tap in with me. And listen, if you missed the live stream, you're always able to go to Amazon Podcast, to Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts at. And then I always do videos that's not live as well. That's a part of this. Shout out to everybody that was able to view the African sold slavery. Africans into slavery. That video is doing great right now. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, check that out. When I come back later on for the live stream, we're going to have us a conversation about Africans, Southern Africans, and about the things that y'all have questions about, the things that I missed, things that I should go deeper into, and just kind of engage in community about Africans, Southern Africans. It's been real, man. Let me play. I realized I ain't played my intro when I came in, but I'll play it going out though.
Spontaneous percussion.